But you actively choose the lens. In doing so, you shape public opinion, you shape public trust, and ultimately public behavior. That is the power you wield. The question is whether you are wielding it with the weight it deserves. So when we talk about the trust deficit and who bears responsibility, there is a trust deficit in Nigeria's information ecosystem, and it is corrosive. The 2023 Man Trust Barometer is revealing enough. Look at the numbers. It revealed that 51% of Nigerians trust the media. That sounds neutral, perhaps even acceptable, until you realize what it actually means. It means that nearly half of Nigerians, that is 49%, actively distrust the media, not have concerns about or skeptical of distrust, as in they do not believe our media reports. And here is what should trouble you even more. According to the barometer, Nigerians' trust in NGOs. 71% of Nigerians trust NGOs. Their trust in businesses is at 66%. Their trust in the media is at 51%. And their trust in the government is at the minimum of 35%. Think about what the hierarchy reveals. It means that Nigerians trust non-governmental organizations. Many of them are funded by foreign interests and operate within minimal democratic accountability. Yet, more than that percentage trust the fourth estate of the realm. They trust corporations that are seeking profit more than they trust journalists seeking truth. This is an institutional crisis. And it gets worse when asked directly. 56% of Nigerians say the government is a source of false or misleading information. Only 28% say it is trustworthy. The 2023 Man Trust Barometer goes further. It identifies the primary drivers of societal polarization in Nigeria. And two variables stand out: distrust in government and distrust in the media. That amounts to distrust in the very institutions meant to inform and to govern. This creates a vicious circle. When government credibility collapses, media coverage of the government becomes suspect. When the media frames every electoral challenge as evidence of systemic fraud, rather than contextualizing it within an imperfect but improving process, it reinforces the very distrust that fragments society. When you, editors and gatekeepers, choose narratives that amplify division because division drives sales, you feed the polarization and make your own work even harder. Post-2023, trust fractured because the narratives around the election became tribal, fragmented, and in some cases, inflammatory. Coverage did not stop at the reporting divisions. It amplified it. Headlines displayed polarization and deepened it. I do understand the constraints you operate under. Many proprietors have political alignments. Advertisers have interest. Engagement metrics reward sensationalism. Division drives clicks. Outrage drives sales. These are real pressures, I agree. I don't dismiss them. But constraints are not excuses. Every profession operates under pressure. Doctors, medical doctors, they face resource shortages. Judges, they face political influence. Governors, we face fiscal limits. But we don't say because the constraints are real, that failures should be justified. Professionalism is tested within constraints, not in their absence. So the bitter truth is that while INEC, security agencies, and political parties have been relentlessly scrutinized for their roles in electoral integrity, editors have largely escaped that examination. So you have critiqued everyone's responsibility for public trust, but you have not interrogated your own. So electoral integrity does not begin and end with the ballot security or INEC transparency. It includes public confidence in the process. Public confidence lives or dies in the narratives you control. If your coverage leads citizens to believe elections are fundamentally rigged, turnouts drops, legitimacy erodes, and democracy weakens, regardless of what actually happened at the polling units. So you see the editorial choices you make contribute to the trust deficit which you report on. Now, speaking to the role of editors in shaping public opinion towards 2027, which is the main sub-theme. We are about 17 months from the next presidential election. What you do between now and then will determine not only what Nigerians know about 2027, but how they will experience it. You will have to choose whether to frame candidates as threats or alternatives. You will choose whether to emphasize differences that divide or principles that unite. You will choose whether editorial silence on certain stories suggests they don't matter, or whether relentless focus on some issues could pose existential threats in the country. These days, a leadership tussle within a political party gets reported as a sign that our democracy is failing. Why does this happen? Because when your coverage consistently treats political disagreement as an existential threat or conflict, when every policy debate becomes a battle, every electoral or party contest a crisis, every compromise a betrayal, you train citizens to see democracy as perpetually contested rather than a shared process of decision-making. Check out some of these prototype headlines. Crisis rocks Party A. Party B is dead. Poverty index. Nigeria is the worst country in the world. And etc. and etc. This type of sensational headlines, which are commonplace in our media space, fast-track the downfall of a country. We should protect our country. We should understand nationalism. We should be able to be patriotic. But I know the commercial trap. Sensationalism drives engagement. Candidate A, accused of fraud. It gets more attention than candidate X releases policy blueprint. Division sells, yes. Outrage travels faster than nuance. But editors are not mere traffickers in outrage. You have codes of practice. You have standards. The question is whether those standards are being applied to electoral coverage with the rigor you apply elsewhere. National interest must be your editorial North Star. And national interest in an election year means coverage that informs without inflaming, that holds power accountable without treating every contest as a catastrophe, that allows citizens to make choices without making them believe that the process is irredeemably broken. The electoral integrity begins with editorial integrity. So there is a need to understand what electoral integrity means in every sense. It cannot be only about ballots. It cannot be about security alone and logistics. It must include the integrity of the information Nigerians consume about those processes. If your newsroom allows misinformation, rumor, and tribalism to masquerade as journalism, electoral integrity is already compromised, even before a single vote is cast. If unverified claims about rigging circulate unchecked on your pages or platforms, you have undermined the process regardless of INEC competence. This is where I challenge what I see as an abdication. Editors often treat electoral integrity as someone else's responsibility. INEC, executive, security agencies, and civil society. But it is yours too. That is why I am happy with the lecture topic you gave to me. Arguably, you have more powers to shape it than most other actors because you shape the information environment in which citizens form opinions and reach judgments. Answer these questions in your heart, and you will get closer to the truth. Do you know as a professional, do your honest best to protect electoral integrity through the discharge of your duties based on national interest? Have commercial, political, or proprietary considerations sometimes informed your editorial choices? In 2027, will your editorial practice contribute to a credible election, or will it contribute to the perception of a flawed one? National cohesion can be facilitated if we can look at the editor's unfinished businesses. In all fairness, Nigerian editors have accomplished much that deserves recognition. Your newsrooms have produced investigative journalists who exposed corruption. You have published reports that held power accountable. Through your coverage, you have amplified marginalized voices. These contributions matter and they are essential to democracy. But what is often missing is journalism that actively builds cohesion, not just reports on its absence. There is a difference between neutrality or neutrally documenting division and actively choosing narratives that remind Nigerians of shared values, shared stakes, and a shared future. You report on ethnic tension, regional disparities, and religious conflicts, as you should. But how often do your editorial choices highlight what binds us together rather than what divides us? When you choose to run northern leaders, reject southern candidates as your banner, instead of consensus forms around the economic agenda, for instance, you have made a choice about what matters. That choice shapes whether readers and listeners see politics as a tribal contest or a democratic process. So the reality heading into 2027 is that elections are won and lost, not only on policies or candidates, but on whether voters believe that the outcome will be legitimate. That belief is shaped by whether they have been hearing fragmented tribal narratives or cohesive nation-building ones. And that is an editorial choice you make every day. Let me give you a concrete example of what editorial integrity in the service of national cohesion looks like. Most recent reports indicate that Nigeria's $2.35 billion Eurobond was oversubscribed by $10.65 billion. That is 453% oversubscription. The Nigerian Stock Exchange recorded 2.7 trillion naira in transactions in the first 4 months of 2025, which is a 43% increase year on year. Foreign portfolio investment surged to 162%. Sovereign Investment Authority now holds an asset worth of 4.42 trillion naira. Our GDP grew by 4.23%, the highest in a decade. These are real market outcomes. Investors do not oversubscribe bonds out of sentiment. They do so because they expect returns. And returns require stability and policy coherence. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's economic reforms are clearly generating the confidence that is producing these investment fostering results. So when you amplify the reality and the facts that President Tinubu's reform policies are yielding fruits and that a robust economic future is manifesting, you are using facts for nation building and inspiring narratives ahead of 2027 election. You are building confidence in the future. You are making Nigerians look towards 2027 with optimism and patriotism. But when you begin to follow the negative utterances of those who don't like our country, you are misinforming Nigerians. None of this requires abandoning your watchdog function. You can hold the government accountable and avoid framing every accountability story as an evidence of irredeemable dysfunction. You can report electoral irregularities and avoid suggesting that the entire system is corrupt. You can cover political competition and remind citizens that competitors will govern the same country afterwards. The question is, ahead of 2027, will you be passive chroniclers of division or active catalysts of the cohesion that democracy requires to function? In closing, Your Excellencies, distinguished editors, ladies and gentlemen, let me say this as part of my closing remarks. The administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu understands what is at stake. His presence at this conference is a huge statement of priority. When a sitting president dedicates time to a gathering of editors and communication professionals, it signals that the battle against disinformation and the project of national cohesion are treated as a matter of national importance. Besides, the president has backed the commitment with structure. The support and the establishment of multiple strategic communication channels, from not only the National Orientation Agency to the weekly ministerial briefings series, reflect a systematic effort to ensure that the government does not cede the information space to speculation and rumor. There are transparency mechanisms designed to ensure that policy decisions are explained, defended, and open to scrutiny. You are not spectators in 2027. You are active participants. You are catalysts and facilitators. Whether you acknowledge it or not, the narratives you shape between now and the election will determine whether Nigerians approach 2027 with hope or cynicism, with trust or suspicion, with a sense of shared stake or through a tribal lens. I'm not asking you to become a propagandist for the state. I'm rather asking you to become custodians of information integrity, which sits well with electoral integrity. Let 2027 be the election year where the Nigerian media became architects of a shared democratic future, where you demonstrated that journalism can be rigorous, can be engaging, can be commercially viable, and work in the service of national cohesion, where you accept that you are not only accountable for democratic governance and national cohesion, but also for electoral integrity and trust deficit. What you choose to do or not to do has enormous consequences for our dear country. And always remember this, even in the medieval age, when the clergy was the first estate, the nobility the second, and the commoners the third, The press was the fourth estate. In modern age, the legislature is the first estate, the executive is the second, and the judiciary is the third. The media is still the fourth estate. Now you can see whether ancient or modern, you are the last man standing. Therefore, as the saying goes, the goldfish has no hiding place. So just know that history is waiting to critique the role, not just of the first, nor the second and third estates, but the fourth estate as well, on how they did or failed to do in 2027 and the run-up thereto. It will help to make or mar Nigeria. The choice is ours in this room. I want to thank you for the privilege of listening to me. May God Almighty bless all of us. I wish you a successful convention. Thank you.
Another round of applause, please. Ancient or modern, the editor is the last man standing. That is a takeaway, a very powerful one too. So let's not take it lightly. We would like to say a big thank you to His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Imo State and Chairman Progressives Governors Forum, Senator Hope Izoduma, for a very cerebral presentation.
Thank you very much, Your Excellencies. Just by way of a brief introduction, Comptroller General of Nigeria Customs Service, Bashiru Adewola Deni, MFR, is also here with us. Thank you very much for coming, sir. General Lucky Irabo, CFR, former CDS, is also here. Thank you very much, sir, for coming. Our conference speakers, Professor Awakalu, SAN, Senior Partner, Awakalu Partners, and former Attorney General of Abia State, is also here with us. Professor Sherif Gari Ibrahim, Head of Department, Political Science and International Affairs, is also here. Please, Your Excellency, I don't think it would be out of order if I introduce our former presidents who are here. Malam Babadantie, MON, MNI, FGN is here. Malam Garuba Shehu, Fellow of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, is also here. Please, can you take a bow, sir? Mr. Benga Adefaye is also here. Can you take a bow, sir? Chief Femi Adeshino is also here. Thank you very much. Malam Mustafa Issa is also here. Thank you for coming. And next on the line, as we have it here, is our dear friend, our dear colleague, the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Mohammed Idris, to kindly come up for his speech, please.
Your Excellency, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Your Excellency, Chief Hope Uzodimma, Prospective Fellow of the Nigerian Guild of Editors. Your Excellency, the Governor of Kogi State, our Royal Fathers, my colleagues, the Honorable Minister of Solid Minerals, Editor Emeritus, Mr. Dele Alake, Special Advisors to the President, Mr. Bayo Naluga and Chief Sunday Dari, Senior Special Assistants, I can see Tunde Rahman, Abdulaziz, Malam Tope Ajayi, President Emeritus, former President of the Nigerian Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, Prince Nduka Obaigbena. I have not forgotten our royal fathers, Sultan of Sokoto, the present and former presidents of the Nigerian Guild of Editors. What I want to say, Your Excellency, is that I neither invited Chief Hope Uzodimma nor wrote the topic of that. So I think that the Nigerian Guild of Editors, I'm not sure that this was the outcome they were expecting when they invited His Excellency Hope Uzodimma to be here. It is with profound sense of honor and deep significance that I stand before you today as we gather here to a landmark event in the annals of journalism's history in this country. For the first time in our nation's history, a sitting president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is gracing the Nigerian Guild of Editors conference with his presence. This is a powerful testament to the high esteem in which this administration holds the fourth estate of the realm. Mr. President's presence here today is deeply symbolic. It reminds me of the long struggle and resilience that have defined the Nigerian press from the colonial days to our tortuous journey to democracy. It is instructive to note that Mr. President is a personification of the very resilience and struggle that define the Nigerian media. His own antecedents are woven into the fabric of our historical struggle for democracy. Recall his unwavering courage in the face of past adversities, such as the infamous denial of allocation to the LCDS under his stewardship as Lagos State Governor, a brazen act of injustice which he confronted with the same resolve that characterized the press fight against military dictatorship. Like you, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has stood firm against the tides of oppression. He understands from first-hand experience that a vibrant and independent media is not the adversary of government, but the bedrock upon which a true and lasting democracy is built. That same fortitude is now the engine of our national renewal. With the unwavering conviction, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is steering our nation through a very tough but necessary reform to birth a more prosperous Nigeria. The difficult decisions have been taken. At some point, the press firestorm was about the removal of the oil subsidy and unification of the Naira. Now we advance with a forthcoming modernized tax regime designed to build and create a fairer system that funds infrastructure, education, and healthcare that will unlock the boundless potentials of our people. So now, when I listen to the president of the Guild asking for the exemption of newspapers and the media generally from the tax regime, I await the president's response. But I urge the press to pay close attention. This tax system worked in Lagos. It will work for Nigeria as a whole. Central to this vision of a prosperous Nigeria is an environment where free speech and dynamic media can thrive. I stand before you today to affirm that under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's leadership, we have nurtured an unprecedentedly egalitarian media ecosystem. We have over 1,000 licensed radio and television stations operating across this nation. It is significant to note that not a single one has been threatened, gagged, or shut down by the government for expressing whatever views it holds. This is not coincidence, but a conscious commitment to the constitutional principles of press freedom. This commitment is being recognized globally. It is the same principle stance that significantly contributed to Nigeria being granted the hosting right for the International Media and Information Literacy Institute. Only a week ago, UNESCO granted Nigeria the hosting right of the first of its kind anywhere in the world of Media and Information Literary Institute to be hosted here in Abuja. This indeed will connect Nigeria to media literate dynamics from across the world. All participants, all media practitioners from around the world will, as a result of this hosting of this Media and Information Literacy Institute, come to Nigeria and help us to rid the whole world of the menace of fake news, misinformation, and disinformation. This is not a coincidence, but a conscious commitment to the constitutional principles of press freedom. Therefore, as we deliberate here today, I charge you, my colleagues, to see yourselves as essential partners in national renewal. The government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has demonstrated its faith in you through his actions, not just his words. We invite you, therefore, to engage, to critique constructively, and to report with utmost responsibility that demands your participation at this moment of our history. The best editor is the one that knows what not to report. Let us work together to tell the Nigerian story with balance, with truth, and with an unyielding belief in the promise of our great nation. Let us know that media and information literacy are essential in the construction of any viable democracy. We have to report with responsibility, but also with a greater sense of patriotism. We have heard from the governor of Imo State. The only person standing in this democratic journey that has not changed is the media, the fourth estate of the realm. Therefore, let this last man standing continue to stand in defense of our democracy. Thank you very much for listening. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation. Thank you very much, sir. Please, I joined the Guild when I was still a baby. A former president of the Guild was reigning then. I never knew. Kindly bear with me, sir. Chief Onyema Ugochukwu is also a former president of the Nigerian Guild of Editors. Thank you very much, sir.
And now, just before we invite our deputy president of the Guild, we would just like to acknowledge that, say thanks to the Customs Service, Nigeria Customs Service, for their support. And now we invite Dr. Sebastian Emenai, Deputy President of the Nigerian Guild of Editors, to give us a vote of thanks on behalf of the Guild. Thank you.
Not to worry, I understand why you're murmuring. He will do that. Thank you very much, Dr. Abu.
Your Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Your Excellency, the Governor of Imo State, our own keynote speaker for today's occasion, Senator Hope Uzodinma. Your Excellency, my dear brother, the Governor of Kogi State, Alhaji Ahmed Usman Ododo, permit me, for want of time, a distinguished guests to stand on the well-established protocol by the MC and reaffirmed by the President of the Guild so that we can make some progress. As has been said by the President of the Guild and confirmed by the Minister of Information, indeed, for the past 21 years since the conference was established, this is the first time we are having a sitting president be in attendance in our conference. I think it deserves, our dear president deserves a round of applause. At some point, we started imagining or even thinking whether the place of the editor no longer matters to government. But today, as said by the Minister of Information, all of this has been added. And I want to say and thank our dear President for finding time to really break these jinx, and we are grateful, sir. I want to use this opportunity on behalf of the President of the Guild, Mr. Eze Anaba, to thank the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Idris, for making this happen along with his communication team. And this has indeed been very, very important to us as members of the Guild. I want to say we are grateful. We are also grateful to His Excellency the Governor of Imo State, Onwa, as his people calls him, Senator Hope Uzodinma, for throwing the fireball in his keynote address. You have raised very pertinent issues. Whether we like it or not, these are facts we must take to heart and reflect upon. And we thank you for being very truthful in communicating to us what we need to also think about, vis-a-vis our patriotism and our commitment to national development. I'd like to specially thank His Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Sahad Abubakar III, MNI, for finding time to come. As a matter of fact, he was ready to be here even the last week where the conference was fixed. He wasn't aware that it has been postponed. He was here in Abuja. But as soon as we told him the conference has been postponed, he was still willing to be here. Your Eminence, sir, we are grateful. Thank you also for the royal fathers that have accompanied him here today. I see also the Emir of Kefi, who is here. May God continue to help you, sir, in your leadership responsibility. How can I forget our own father and elder, His Excellency, the Chief Reporter of Nigeria, Olusegun Oshoba, for always being there for us, guiding us through the process of what we need to do, and to continue to sustain the legacy of what a patriotic press should be like. I'd like to use this opportunity to thank also the co-chairman of today's event, Prince Nduka Bebuna, the cerebral leader of all times. Thank you very much, sir, for finding time to come. Let me use this time also to thank our elder, Chief Onyema Ogochukwu. I tell you, we are very blessed because when you have elders who have gone through the rounds, always standing by you, you know you can always approach every challenge that comes with confidence. Thank you very much, our elders, sirs. Let me also use this opportunity to appreciate with gratitude all our sponsors for this conference. Thank you, the Plateau State government, led by His Excellency Caleb Mutfwang, who is unable to make it here today, but insisted that a representative must be here to represent him. Thank you, my dear sister, Honorable Joyce Rabnam, and MNI, for finding them to come. And also all the commissioners of information from Cross River, Ebonyi, as well as Plateau State, representing the governor, for being here. How can I forget our own dear brother, the CG of the Nigerian Customs Service, who has consistently supported our conferences. Thank you very much, sir. And all our sponsors, thank you. We appreciate you all. Let me also thank our former presidents who are here. The MCs, I've already introduced them to us. They have always been very passionate in standing around us and giving us the direction in the way things must go to continue to sustain the legacies of the Guild. We appreciate you. May God continue to help you and keep you for us. And on this note, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the President of the Guild, permit me to now invite our Father of the Nation and President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to give his remarks and declare the conference open. Mr. President, sir.
Your Eminences, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Please. The Chairman, Progressive Governors Forum, the hope we've listened to you and thank you for the picks. All other governors here, all members of the Executive Council, particularly the man who dragged me here, Mohammed Idris. He was so passionate and committed. He dragged Dele Alake with him to the office. I said, Mr. President, you have to attend the Guild of Editors conference. Right? I'm here. All the former state governors, leaders, members of diplomatic corps, President, Nigerian Guild of Editors, Eze and Nava, that was quite interesting. And the esteemed members of the Guild. Our royal fathers, thank you for being here and consistent inspiration to all of us in defense of our democracy and the future of this country. You have always been there patriotically with commitment and valuable suggestions. Thank you, Eminence, the Sultan of Sokoto, the captains of industry, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. If I look back at the time I first assumed office and the way you all dealt with me, over subsidy removal, quote unquote, the floating
of our exchange rate, removing the arbitrage, the corruption in the society, and the opportunity blocked against rentier economy. We should celebrate that one today. That the tunnel of darkness and the headwind of the economy is getting better. It is my privilege to welcome you to the State House. This is for free. This is your house. This year's annual conference of Nigerian Guild of Editors. Your presence here reflects the enduring importance of the media in shaping national direction and strengthening democratic life. I commend the leadership of the Guild for sustaining the tradition of reflection and professional engagement. The theme you have chosen, democratic governance and national cohesion, role of editors, invite us to reflect on the state of our democracy and the way in which public discourse can either strengthen or weaken the bonds that holds our nation together. This conversation is necessary as we continue to build institutions that are transparent, resilient, and trusted by our citizens. Throughout our history, journalism in Nigeria has been more than a profession. It has been an instrument of national awakening. From early newspapers that challenged the colonial injustice to the principled voices that kept hope alive during the dark days of the military dictatorship. And at this junction, I must say thank you, Raymond Segun Osoba. I thank you in that way for the commitment, dedication, patriotism, and partnership that we all shared there. The Nigerian press has stood at a critical point in our nationhood to defend reason, dignity, and progress. Many journalists endured intimidation, detention, and personal hardship in defense of the public good. Their sacrifices are part of the foundation upon which our democracy rests today. We honor them not only in memory, but also by remaining committed to the values they upheld. Yet, freedom secured through struggle is not self-sustaining. It requires constant vigilance and reasonable exercise. A democracy is sustained not only by elections and laws, but also by the integrity of the public conversation. This is where your role becomes central and indispensable as last man standing. As editors and managers of the national information space, you shape narratives, you influence public understanding, you decide what becomes national focus and how our collective challenges are interpreted. The weight of that responsibility is extremely significant. It must be exercised with wisdom, fairness, and a strong sense of national duty. Nigeria is a large, as you know, and diverse country. Debate and differences are part of our reality. However, disagreement must never translate into erosion of national cohesion. Criticism, when informed and constructive, is a service to the nation. But cynicism that breeds mistrust and despair can weaken the very foundation of the society we seek to improve. The national interest must always remain paramount. We live in a time when information travels rapidly and widely. Social media has made every citizen a potential publisher. This has benefits, but it also increases the speed and scale of misinformation. Falsehood can take root before truth has time to speak. In such an environment, the editorial function is more important than ever. Verification must be your anchor. Balance must be your principle. And professional judgment must be your guide. I urge you, therefore, to continue upholding the highest standard of journalism. Report boldly, but do so truthfully. Criticize government policy, but do so with knowledge and fairness. Your aim must never be to tear down what we are building together, but to help build a better society. On our part, this administration remains committed to securing our nation, sustaining economic stability, and widening the circle of opportunity for all citizens. The reform we have undertaken have been challenging, but they are designed to place our economy on a strong and enduring footing. We have taken steps to restore macroeconomic balance, encourage investment, and build confidence. The signs of progress are visible in several sectors of the economy. Still, we know there is more work to do, and we remain focused on ensuring that growth translates into real improvement in the daily lives of all Nigerians. However, economic reforms and institutional improvement alone cannot build Nigeria we seek. Nation building requires cooperation, it requires trust, it requires a shared understanding that our future is tied together. Government has its role to play, the private sector has its role to play, civil society has its role to play, and the media has a distinct responsibility to help shape a climate of reason and unity. I ask you, therefore, to continue to exercise that responsibility with the seriousness and honor. Let us choose clarity over confusion, responsibility over recklessness, hope over despair. Let us remember that the stories we tell ourselves as a nation and as a people influence the country we become. I've listened to the request of the chairman of the guild. While I await the full write-up, noted that the corporate tax relief, part of the reform, VAT exemption for media tax credit, affordable loans from BOI and VBN, establish development grants for digitization, repeal laws that inhibit press freedom, discuss it now, highlight it if you know. I, as your president, endorsed the proposals. Media and safety data will be our outcome. Distinguished editors, your work matters. The tone you sent in your newsroom. I watched the tone on some channels recently on Alhambra election. Before the result, you start here, food to buy, food to buy. Who is selling? If there's no reason to complain, let me share leaders. It's our country. It is our country. We are going to be discussing the value charter from here. What should be worrisome to you is the image of the country you project over the outside world. How well your institution is making effort to build a nation of credibility with integrity that is required. That we may be poor. Poverty is not going to be our master. We are going to come out of it. Yes, we are challenged by terrorism, banditry, and others. We recognize that. Are we doing something about it? Are we inspiring the armed forces? Are we encouraging them to fight? They put their lives on the line to defend the national sovereignty of this country. It is our responsibility. Take it as part of laundry list of discussions here. Your request is in my pocket. Follow up as I wish you a constructive, thoughtful, and fruitful deliberations. I look forward to the outcome of your discussions. Thank you. God bless Federal Republic of Nigeria. I declare the conference open.
Please, can we put our hands together again for Mr. President? The applause, remember, our request is in his pocket. Let's encourage him. Let's encourage him, please. Let's get it. Let's do it for the next 30 seconds. Mr. President has spoken, and I know he will do it. Do you agree? Yes. Thank you, Mr. President. Please sit down. Shortly, we'll just present some plaques to the Minister of Information, to the Imo State Governor, and to the President. Mr. Zanaba, please, your attention is needed. Can you present the plaques, please? Thank you. Where are the plaques? Those are the plaques, please. First, to the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation. Just a small plaque to commemorate the fact that for the very first time during your time as well, during the time of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Guild held its annual conference here after over 20 years. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Thank you very much. That's been done by Mr. Ezanaba, President of the Guild. Next on line is the Imo State Governor.
His Excellency, Senator Hope Uzodimma, please come forward for your very special plaque.
It's my honor and privilege to call on Mr. President to kindly receive this little token of thank you from our President, Eze Anaba, Mr. President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. Please, the national anthem. May God continue to bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu,